All right, so I'm going to create a new SFML project. You can keep your other projects running. You can open more than one project in code blocks there. So I'm just going to give this one a name like, I'm going to actually save this to my USB key. I find that a lot easier than running from the Google Drive. Yes? Okay. So we'll save it there. I'll call this one just animation or something. I'm going to animate these ogres here. I'll show you how to do it. Okay. Hit finish. What do I have? I have the green ball on the screen, the green ball of death.
But my project is already in my...
That's fine, you can open your project from your Google Drive.
But then that'll mean it will go slow again.
No, it's just when code blocks is running from the... It's only when code blocks is running from the drive that makes everything slow and kind of boggy stuff.
But the project with code blocks, the code blocks project is in my drive. If I open that, then that would run from my drive.
Yeah, but the code blocks file is like 21 kilobytes or something. That's not the holdup is the fact that you're running this 500 megabyte thing off a Google Drive and it's constantly downloading.
I don't get what you're saying.
Well, just try it. You'll see. It won't freeze. It shouldn't. Okay, so I do have my circle there. I want to make that a picture of that ogre though, so I'm going to go and grab this picture on Google Classroom. There he is there. How do you download that? Can you just right click on it? I'm actually going to click on these three dots and go to details or whatever. Can I download that or open a new window? So many weird little steps you got to take all the time in Google Drive. There. I'm going to download that picture to the... Yours gets downloaded to like downloads or something. You don't really have a choice in the matter, do you? I do, however, have a choice where I can download mine, so I'm going to put it into the animation project I just made. Ogre.png. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to open that picture in CodeBlocks as a sprite. But later on, I'm going to take little pieces of that big picture and kind of cycle through them. So let's get rid of all of the shapes. Don't need them. Not going to draw any green shapes anymore. Get rid of the draw command as well. And make a sprite variable. I call it anything I want. I'm going to call it ogre. Texture variable. I'll still call that T1. Okay. I'll load that ogre picture from a file. I called mine ogre.png smartly. And the last thing to do is take my ogre, my sprite variable, and set the texture. There we go. T1. Cool. So those 4 lines of code should load that picture into memory. Don't get any error messages, hopefully. Seems fine. Perfect. Last thing I gotta do is call that draw command, window.draw ogre. Ogre. There it is. Kaboom. You can see I have a little bit of a white space problem here. I didn't delete like in between his arms and his legs. But here's a good fix for that. You can set the background to white just by putting a color inside of this clear command. So I'm going to go color, colon, and then I can choose white. That will erase the screen white. White, like that. or white. Yeah, you have to hit tab so it'll auto type. Yes, Sky. So yes, I have cleared my screen white. It'll make it a little cleaner. We could add a background picture. We could actually go into the ogre picture and like delete the little white spots too, if I wanted to. I don't really feel like doing that right now. But I do have this ogre on the screen. Right now, though, I'm going to call a command that only takes a small part of this texture. I only really want this little box here where it's this first ogre, okay? So there's a command called, right here, maybe after I set the texture, I'll say ogre.setTextureRect. There's an ogre.setTextureRectangle rectangle command. So I'm going to click on that one, and it says it needs this variable type called int rect. So I'm just going to type int rect like that. And in brackets, I'm going to give it 4 numbers. I'm going to give it the x and y coordinate of the ogre that I want and the size of the ogre. So let's figure out how big this guy is and where the coordinates I want are. Okay. All right, so let me just open this picture in Paint. Paint is the best one to get like coordinates of your pictures in. I don't recommend Photoshop for it, but you can't really see on my monitor here, but it shows me like where my mouse is in pixels. Do you see that down there, right here? It's a good feature. So what I have to do is I have to pick the top left corner of my picture are the first 2 numbers that I need. So I'm going to pick 0 and 0. Okay. So I've added this line called ogre.setTextureRect. Let me just write that one more time. So I got to type ogre.setTextureRectangle. Perfect. It says in the blue it's looking for this rectangle variable, so I'm going to type int rect like this, and then I'm going to give it 4 numbers. The first 2 are the position, the left and right, or the top left corner of the picture, and then the last 2 numbers are the width and the height of the picture. So let me see how tall this guy is and how wide he is. I know that this is 0, 0 on my screen from Paint. I can see it down here. If I go kind of over here, well, let's see how wide my picture is. My picture says it's 430 wide. So what if I divide 430 by 4? That will kind of give me an equal width of how wide each ogre is on that page. Calculator, hold on a sec here. 430 divided by 4. That's going to be approximately his width. 107.5, okay. We can do decimals. They're all floats anyways. How tall is the ogre? Well, it says here the picture is 580 pixels, 579. So I'll divide that by 4 because there's four ogres also going down, right? So I'll do 580 divided by 4 as well. That will be the height of the ogre, 145. So I'm going to write that in as well. 145. So this line of code will single out that one ogre in there, hopefully. Let's have a look. There he is. Uga chugga. Cool. Okay. So I have this ogre here, right?
Is this recording?
Yep. And I've basically singled him out with this line. I've just kind of said, go into this picture and grab this little part of the picture. Oh, let me draw that. Well, let me draw that.
How do you know that?
Kind of grab that picture. That's basically what I did, right? I did it by giving it the top left corner and then the width and the height. So those are the 3 numbers I got, right? Let's try to grab a different ogre maybe. Let's instead of putting 0, 0 here, why don't we put 145 here? That should move it down 1 and get the ogre in the next row, right? That should grab this ogre here. Correcto? Does that make sense? That if I just go down 145, should make them, should grab the next ogre down. Should I have an ogre walking to the left there? Yeah, I do. If I go down another 145, so maybe 145 times 2, you could just put math in there. It should make the ogre to the right, yeah. And if I do the ogre 145 times 3, it should make the ogre that's facing up. Okay? So hopefully you can see that just by manipulating the spots in the picture, I can kind of like switch between ogres. If I can do it fast enough, I can make it look like he's moving. Let's try that. Okay, so I don't want to save that right now. I'm going to just keep this at 0, 0 for now. I'm going to get just the one ogre that looks like he's facing down. Okay, like that. Okay, great. Now, here's what I need to do in order to make this guy look like he's moving. I need to take this, oopsie. I need to take a box like this. This is the box I have right now, okay? And then I need to move this box here, then here, then here, then back here, then here, then here, then here. If I can do that every frame or every few frames, I can have this illusion that he's walking, okay? So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put this code inside of my loop. Okay, so I'll copy it. I'll leave it here for now, but I'll also put it in my loop. I'm going to leave myself a little message too. Animation. Okay. And the only number I have to change is this one. This one number here. The width and the height are always the same of the box, right? I just have to be able to get this box to move over. It's always going to have a height of 0, or it's always going to start at 0 in the Y. It's just got to move over however many, 107.5, 107.5 times 2, 107.5 times 3. So it's just got to go back, 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 and then go back there, back there, back there, back there. Okay, so maybe the way I'll do it is I'll just put a counter variable here, like int c equals 0, okay? And from there, I'm going to make C just go up. C++, famously named C++ coding language. What's that going to do? It's just going to make C continue to climb by 1. So if I output it on the screen, I will have a number that just counts from 1 to infinity, however long my program's running. There you go. See that? There, C is running fast, 60 times a second or so.
Will that keep running forever?
Yep, it will keep running forever till I close it. Okay, 60 times a second or so. So if I put C in here, watch what'll happen. It'll look really weird. It'll kind of like, it'll move this square over like 1 pixel at a time, so it'll kind of like look like a movie reel or something. It's gonna look strange. And then eventually, once C gets past whatever, like, 430, I won't have an image at all there. But let's just see what that looks like for the sake of it. See that? It's kind of slowly moving over, and then eventually it's going to disappear. Okay. So that's not really good. What I actually need to do is I need to go from the number 0. Where's my calculator? Calculator. I actually need to go from 0, then to 107.5. Okay, so that's how wide each ogre is. And then I need to go to 215, and then I need to go to 322. And then I need to go back to 0, and so on and so forth. So I need it to go 107. I need it to go C times 107.5. This will animate 3 times and then quit. So we probably won't even see it unless we really slow our frame rate down. Let me slow my frame rate down to like 3 frames per second. Now we'll see him animate quickly, but then once, see that? Now it's off of the page. So he did animate. Soon as it's past 4:30 though, he stops animating. So I want to keep it at 60 here. I need to come up with a smart way to make C change basically from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. And that's it. I want C to have a range of 0, 1, 2, 3, and then go back to 0, bed 1, 2, 3, go back to 0, 1, 2, 3, go back to 0, 1, 2, 3. Here's how you do that. Watch what happens when I print out C remainder 4. Okay? Watch what happens when I print out C remainder 4. What are my numbers? Do you see them? 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So when I remained something by 4, I can only have a range of numbers between 0 and 3. Because if I divide something by 4, my remainder can only be 0, 1, 2, or 3. That's kind of the power of the remainder button here. Okay? So that's why I wanted to teach you the remainder, even though you don't learn it anymore. But if I put C%4 and then times it by 107.5, it should just quickly jump back and forth between those 4 pictures. Very, very quickly, mind you. This guy's going to be running on the spot very quickly. Right? But he is animating. How could I slow him down? Because C++ uses integer division, all I have to do is basically divide C by some factor. If I want to slow him down to half his speed, I just divide C by 2 and then take the remainder. That will half his speed. Now he should animate half as fast. Still quite fast. He's still in an awful hurry. Why don't I maybe make him 5 times less fast in his animation? Yeah, you'll have to, that's still like a little too fast, right? Maybe I'll try it divided by 8. I still always need this %4 though, because I have 4 photos that he's flipping back and forth between. There you go. Okay. Looks like 8 is not bad.
Is there a limit to how high the numbers can go in the computer?
Yeah, because remember, int will roll over at like 4 billion, and then it'll go back to 0 again. Remember that? Yeah. Let's make this ogre walk across the screen now. Okay. So let's do that. Let us maybe. Okay. Right now we just have him moving kind of with the frames, right? C is counting how many frames we're running. And he is walking, you know, every 8 frames he's changing his picture. That's basically what this number means, right? Every 8 frames, switch to the next picture. So instead of doing that, let's get him to change his picture when he walks down instead of just changing it based on the frames. Here is how you do keyboard presses in SFML. You just write a standard if statement, okay? You write the word keyboard, capital key, yes? And then you hit : and you find the command that's called is key pressed. There it is there. Now, am I going to type all that myself? No, I've already typed it wrong anyways, but I am going to hit return and let it fill it in for me. Okay? Now, in the brackets, if you can see the blue here, it's looking for a keyboard button to press. So I'm just going to write keyboard again. And I'm going to hit : We'll learn later why it's keyboard : It's called a static function. And I'm going to use the letter S. Okay? There's the letter S right there. It's in my list. It's a capital S. Again, I'm just going to let it auto type. Now, I'm going to put, so that's my if statement. All my brackets are taken care of. I can see that blue goes to blue there, and blue goes to blue. There's no red. If I added an extra bracket, it would be red highlighted. Okay. So that if statement's going to tell if the keyboard is pressed. And then here, I'm going to paste this line of code. Now, this isn't going to work 100% the way we think it's going to work. Well, right now, basically, if I press the S key, my guy will animate, and if I don't press it, he won't animate, theoretically. Let's see. If I hold the S key, he starts to animate. Okay? The other thing I want to do is move him down. So I'm going to write ogre move. And then I'm going to give it an X and a Y. And X I'll put 0, and in Y I'll put 5 pixels. So he can move down 5 when I press S. Not only that, but he will animate as well. Whoa, 5 might be a little too fast. So maybe I'll do 3 pixels or something. Whoa, looks cool. Maybe even 3's a little too fast. Try 2. Okay, that seems about right. Okay. A little bit weird. You can see when I tap it, I kind of get some weird glitches and stuff. So let's fix that. Let's not put the number C here. Okay. Let's actually put where his position is here. So instead of C, I'm going to put ogre dot get position dot Y. So now when his Y position changes, he will change his frame or his picture. There's one issue with this, and you'll see it right now. This is a float. This value here is a float. And I won't be able to take the remainder of a float value, so I'll have to change it to an int. Let me just see what happens if I run this. I should probably get an error. Yeah, it says it's trying to find the remainder of a float. So that's no problem. We know how to change this number to an int. We just write the word int in brackets in front of it. And now the ogre will only change his frame when he moves. Okay. It might be a little too fast still, so we could play with it now because obviously his position is changing faster than the frame rate was changing. So maybe I divide this by 20 now or something like that. That's a big line of code. Okay, that might be a little too slow in his animation. It looks like he's sliding a little bit, so maybe I'll press 15. It's not bad. Okay. If I added a background to that, I could really make that pop, I think. Well, that's where we'll end it today. Tomorrow we'll get him walking to the left and the right and up as well. Stay tuned. We'll get him moving all around the screen.